Hello, welcome to Wisdom at the Well and another interview in the Fierce Awakening series. I believe this is our sixth author interview, and today is with Roxy Ruck. I can never quite say your last name, so I'm going to just, when you introduce yourself, I'm going to invite you to say it. But I'm super excited. Well, Roxy is the reason that I got to become involved in this project. We had met at a retreat and we spent every morning walking together and just in our walks and talks became friends. And then this project, this opportunity came quite soon after our retreat. And Roxy invited me to join it. And I am so grateful because, well, as you've seen in the interviews, the extraordinary women who are part of this project, getting to be part of a collaborative book effort, right? And that we are now all and each published authors. Just was a very unexpected experience and gift that I got to receive. So, welcome, Roxy. I'm so pleased you're here, and I would love for you to introduce yourself to everyone here.
Hi, Sarah. Thank you so much for creating this platform for us to share all of our voices from our book and that it may inspire other women who are reading it or other people who are reading it. So,
Yeah.
thank you.
Oh, my pleasure.
And my name is Roxana. I also go by Roxy. And in this moment, I am an intuitive sound practitioner. And I work with the earth and the grids and creating sacred presence and allowing the remembrance of people, clients that I work with, the remembrance of their wholeness. That's a little bit about me.
Yes. Well, welcome. And you wrote a very powerful chapter in this book. And so let's start there, and we'll probably expand into other areas as well and bring in more of like what you're sharing about your healing, being a healer, and all of that. But let's start with the chapter, Allowing Grief, Listening for Love. And it feels like your story here about your journey. And at this point, I just want to say you've experienced a lot of grief in your life. And this chapter was written in since in these last 2 years, you've experienced more grief, more family members dying. So I'm just going to kind of open it up with, I'm going to come back to your exact words, allowing grief, listening for love. So what's opened up for you in these experiences?
Well, I've had seven people die during this period. My mom being one of them.
Mhm.
After my mom, I'm looking down because there's so many people who've died. It's been quite a journey. It's my medicine. I feel like that's my medicine for me going inward and really healing different facets of myself and my ancestors. And with the grief, that allowing love to emerge from that within the sorrow there. And I feel that all of us are experiencing different aspects of grief all the time. It doesn't really have to be a death of a person. It could be situation, whatever it is. And taking that time to go inward and pause and feeling into your heart and seeing what is there. And that allows for the love to come forward within the grief.
Have you experienced that grief is actually what's opened your heart and allowed you to feel more deeply?
I feel that the first person who died was that was a pivotal person in my life was my father
Mm.
over 11 years ago. And it was very um, tragic and unexpected death. And it broke my world apart because of his circumstances of how he died. And that shattered who I thought I was. And I really started leaning into drinking and not wanting to feel, not wanting to embody myself. And through the next grief that happened, that portal in, that brought up that old pain, that that deep grief. And this time around, I did not have that anchor, that whatever, that the way of escaping of drinking, because I had stopped drinking. And it afforded me that opportunity to really be with the grief, be present, because when grief arises, you have, for me, I chose to be there. I chose to not run away. I chose to sit with what was arising, whether it was deep on the floor, tears, whether it was screaming, whether it was just not knowing what to do, just sitting there with the grief and crying. And sometimes just looking out and just being with everything present.
Mhm.
And the grief, yes, it brought me into my heart and opened my heart more, and it continues to open my heart more. But I feel like there's other things that through this process that opened it. And specifically, working with one of our teachers and working with open heart work, which is being present with everything that's arising.
You know, I think of like we each have a doorway in, right?
Yes.
And so for me, it's often when I'm feeling afraid, I know that fear is bringing me more deeply into myself. And it sounds like, and what, at least from reading your chapter, it feels like grief is like your doorway in. And there are many ways in, but there's something about these profound feelings that can open, say for you, grief opens your door more fully, whereas fear opens my door more fully.
Yes.
Can you relate to that
Yes.
in terms of,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
And what I'm hearing in there too is that grief doesn't look a certain way. You don't know quite how it's going to express. Sometimes it could just be literally looking out the window, right? Or
Right.
staring off into space. And other times it is on the floor, uncontrollable sobbing. So, this is an interesting question. What's been your most profound experience of grief? I'm not quite sure why I'm asking that, but
Yeah,
that's
that's
the
no, that's
question.
a great question, and I will answer. And what's coming from my heart is with my grandmother.
Mm.
Yeah, as she was dying, I was there with her as she was dying for all those months. As she was going through that process, she died at home with her daughters beside her, and it was a beautiful experience for me because I brought my bowls and I played for her and I've played for the family. So she had 12, 13 kids. One had died soon after birth, and then a few others had died. But all the other kids were there in the room, and I played the bowls, and it was such a healing moment. And I asked everyone to share something about my grandmother that brought them joy, and it was profound for me. And I felt my grandmother and my great grandmother. I felt my grandfather around. I felt different spirits just around us, witnessing us. And I felt angels by us. And it was a beautiful container and a profound one of healing and being able to see that my grandmother was dying. Her breath was shallow. And we were all there smiling, laughing, crying as we shared. So that was and still is very profoundly moving for me.
About really being with what was, what is in that moment, allowing it, but actually bringing your family together through your crystal bowls, through your presence, and actually allowing the grief to be part of the journey for everybody.
Yes.
Mm. So as you introduced yourself, you talk about who you are as a healer. How did how did grief bring you into your, like, away from the drinking, which was one response you had.
Right.
So how did it bring you to where you are now?
How did grief bring me
Yeah,
here
like
again?
how did it contribute to you becoming the healer you are and the sound healer you are?
Um, that's a good question. Grief, as we said, brought me more into my heart and into presence. And as I work with clients with sound, I am creating that presence. I'm creating the deep listening. I'm creating a place where all of them is welcome and a remembrance for them. So, one of the things that I do is I do volunteer work with women who are on their cancer journey.
Mm,
And this is for low income women, it's a free clinic. And providing sound for them, we don't work on their cancer, we work on whatever's present for them in the moment. And it could be not speaking their truth, of holding everything that they've held for many years. It could be their deep grief. And I work with them because I have been in that deep grief.
mhm,
And whatever it is, it's sitting with them with their wholeness and showing them that I'm not doing the work. I am a facilitator of the energy that is coming through me, and they are joining me with energy and with the frequencies, and they're grabbing that energy and the frequencies and bringing it to where it's most needed for them. And
mhm,
I'm constantly reminding them that it's a co-collaborative session that we do together, and through that they find their healing within themselves. Magical things happen. So that's a little bit of a summary of like how my grief has brought me to playing the bowls here that you see,
mhm.
and how I feel so fortunate to be this conduit.
Yeah, my sense is just as I'm feeling you and listening to you is that grief almost like it expanded your capacity to be with what is not only with yourself, but be with others without having to do anything,
Right.
but to, yeah, create that space. Mm, yeah. Um, I want to read one of your, you said, this is toward the, whoops, I am so sorry. I turned off all my things, but not on my phone. Um, this is toward the end of your chapter. By embracing my loss, my journey, and my transformation with grief, I recognize now that grief is love. They are intertwined. There is no one way to grieve. We all have our own process. Grief is an opportunity to allow emotions to arise, breathe them, accept them, and transform them into love. I'm going to skip the chapter because I love how you heard your alchemy bowl singing. I thought that was so beautiful. And in the last paragraph, you say, the vibrations of my pain and tears were making them sing, the bowls sing, this vibration of love. I laid back down and allowed all of my feelings, emotions, and sensations to arise. And with the vibrations and sounds of the bowls, I felt my heart opening, transmuting the pain to love, showing me that, in the end, grief is simply love. Is there anything you want to add to that or what's present for you now?
Hmm. That still is true.
Yeah.
Still is true. And as I have encountered grief in the past few weeks, it's still true. Yeah, it's being with it and really feeling the love.
Hmm. Yeah. So in Fierce Awakenings, we talk about the spiral path. And how, so for you, what does the spiral path mean?
The spiral path is I go through one rendition and I come back around and I may go through it again. but I have changed and transformed in whatever way. So it's coming around again, and I continue. So I'm ever evolving. And that's why I said to you that in this moment, I see myself as a sound practitioner
Yeah.
because I am ever evolving. I could be next year, I can be something else. But it's that continual spiral,
Yeah.
that spiraling. I'm human. I have made many mistakes in my life, and I have that opportunity to see those mistakes and journeys of what guided me forward, right? And then I come back around and I see it in a different way. Like, hey, those weren't really mistakes. That was something to show me this other side, right? That I might not have seen. So that is that continuous journey that we all are on.
Right.
It's we're just on different parts of that journey, but we're all on that together. And that reminds me a little bit about grief. Sometimes we feel like we're on our own path. We're there on this island by ourselves, and nobody can understand our grief, and nobody knows what to say to a person who's grieving. It's very challenging. Like I don't know what to say, and even just saying that to the person who's grieving is perfect.
Yeah.
It's perfect because you're coming from your heart. But that path, you're not by yourself. When you're grieving, you're not on this journey. You're not on that spiral path by yourself. If you look around, you'll notice, oh wow, there's a lot of people there with me. And once you have that recognition, that awareness, it allows you to drop in more for yourself. It allows that grief to open up. And so you're not having this moment of shielding yourself and nobody understands me. No, it becomes this, you're expanding and opening your heart,
Mm.
and you're sharing, and everybody is on that path with you. And with grief, you'll be on that journey. There, as you know, there's the different steps of grief. But again, it's a journey, right? And the journey to me always it comes back to your heart and to love.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
As you were saying that, I was feeling the spiral as a container holding you. And I know that when they people hear about the 5 steps of grief, they so want it to be linear. Okay, when
Yes.
I'm done with this, I get to then go on. I'm
Right.
gonna I'm gonna get to the end and it's gonna be gone or done. And yet
Right.
there's something about, like you were saying, you come back around. You come back
Hmm.
around. Different layers, different levels of it.
Yes.
But the spiral can hold you in that, and that you're not alone in that spiral, that others are grieving as well. So, yeah. So for you right now, here we are, 2 years post publication. We've gathered as a group, coming together to celebrate Fierce Awakenings. What what are you hoping for next on your spiral path? Like where are you thinking your life might go? And we all know not always the case, but because I know, especially for a lot of us in these past 2 years, things have happened and unfolded that none of us expected for ourselves. And yet here we are and still gathering together. So, where are you on your spiral path in terms of life and who you are as a healer and a writer and an author?
Well, I just opened up a brick and mortar business location, so it's no longer from my home or from other people's homes. And so that's one huge step that I've taken. And I'm working with a new group of um, we call ourselves Gentle Hands. It's our focus is community,
Mm.
and we are going to be having our first gathering, doing like a block party of community. How can we come into this frequency of love,
Yeah.
of being together and knowing that you're not alone in what's happening in the world? And we decided to do this random thing and see what is it that the community wants, because I really feel that this is a time for co-collaboration. And I've worked with other people And that brings me joy. Working with other groups of people, doing things together. It doesn't feel like a solo adventure anymore.
Mm,
It really feels like a co-collaborative place where we can all share all of our gifts and be in service. And for me, that is looking like a variety of things. Another thing is working with the cancer clinic, continuing to offer my one-on-one, and I've done group sound baths and creating a community there. So that's where I am right now in my journey. And coming back to writing, I have left writing for a bit, and coming back to writing, I feel that that's an important part
hmm.
of my path.
Yeah. Well, given what you wrote and how you wrote it in this book, I would wholeheartedly agree with that. It was a beautiful chapter where it felt like you really touched into the experience of your mother's death and dying and your experience in that. And it just, yeah, so I look forward to as you write more. So yeah. And just like I'm thinking about that we've been part of online communities, right? And yet
Mm-hmm.
there's something, it sounds like you're creating in-person events like that, that so many people are desiring to actually be together in person. Online is wonderful, but that there's something so powerful about coming together in person. So if people wanted to find out more about you and what you're offering in the communities you're serving, how would they find that? How would they find out about that?
They can go to my website or go to my Instagram, or if they want to hear some of the sounds that I have a YouTube channel, so it's all at Attuning Within, and I can share the links and stuff with you so people
Okay.
can
So
find.
attuningwithin.com and attuning within on Instagram
Yep,
and then also on
and
YouTube.
Attuning Within at on YouTube also.
Okay. Well, we'll definitely post that in the bottom part of
Sure.
the
Okay.
interview. Yeah. So is there anything else? Oh, I know. Before we go there, I want to ask you a question. So Fierce Awakenings, the
Mm-hmm.
name of our book, calling in the courage and confidence to walk life's spiral path. So what does Fierce Awakenings mean to you? What does calling in the courage and confidence really mean for you?
Mm. Part of it can be right here, right now, being courageous enough to be seen, to be on this platform with you,
Yeah.
being courageous enough to write that chapter and share from my heart what happened for me and my mom. It is sharing when I go out to the community and being present. And that's the fierce awakening, that courageous, resilient person. And as I'm saying that, one of my bowls is echoing, which is very interesting.
Resonating with your words.
So that's what fierce awakening is.
You know, sitting here with you, you make it look easy to share about who you are and who you are as a healer. But I know from reading your chapter that hasn't always been easy, right?
No.
It takes courage. So I guess I just want people who are watching this to know that it does require courage to speak up and share who you are and to not kind of hide or shield yourself. And so to really acknowledge you for showing up here and being you here.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate you.
So mutual. So,
And I would like to bring in one component that listeners can take away for from our talk is that bringing in presence can be very simple, and it's a tool that I would like to share is when you wake up in the morning, before you jump out of bed, take 3 deep breaths
mm,
and land. You can place a hand on your heart, place a hand on your womb, and take the 3 breaths. And if you want to take it a step further, lean into gratitude. And that really sets your day up, and it sets the tone of how you are going to show up for yourself for the rest of the day.
You start your day with presence and gratitude.
Mm,
And it's that simple.
yes.
That simple. Oh, I'm so glad you brought that in. Thank you. Taking a deep breath.
Mm.
Is there anything else you'd like to share?
No, may this ripple out to all those who are seeking, who are on this spiral path,
Yeah.
and may they know that they're not alone. So
Mm,
thank you so much.
thank you. So thank you all for joining us on this interview. I will be posting Roxy's information below. And thank you for sharing with us in the celebration of Fierce Awakenings. And, this book, for each of us who participated in it, but for the number of people who have their copy and have read it, I keep hearing how much this is supporting women and men too, but obviously it's 12 women who wrote the book, but wherever you are on your journey, we're 12 very different women on very different paths, but we're all on the spiral path. And actually, we all are on a spiral path. And so if you need some reflection or holding or encouragement, I just really encourage you to get yourself a copy of this book because it will meet you where you are and it can continue to meet you where you're going. And that's what we keep receiving feedback about. So here's to Fierce Awakenings for bringing you and me further together and for all of us. So, yes. All right.
Thank
Thanks
you.
so much. See you next time.